Hello everyone, welcome to my channel. I hope everyone is having a wonderful day. Before starting the video, please hit the subscribe now. Let's start video. Shocking headlines are circulating online claiming Jinger Duggar has been hospitalized in critical condition and that her husband, Jeremy Vuolo, has had a complete emotional breakdown. But what's really going on behind the scenes? Is this just clickbait? Or is there real cause for concern? Let's break it all down. Over the past 48 hours, several YouTube channels and social media posts have gone viral alleging that Jinger Vuolo, formerly Jinger Duggar from 19 Kids and Counting, is in critical condition. The videos show Jeremy appearing emotional, fueling speculation that something serious has happened to Jinger herself. But here's the truth. There is no verified report confirming Jinger Duggar is hospitalized or critically ill. What actually happened? Back in December 2024, Jinger and Jeremy rushed their young daughter, Evangeline, to the ER during a late-night health scare. Quote, "Jinger, it was terrifying. She couldn't breathe right. It sounded like a seal barking," Jinger explained on her podcast earlier this year. Doctors diagnosed Evangeline with a croup-like condition and gave her steroids. Thankfully, she recovered quickly. So what about Jeremy's emotional reaction? Well, he did get overwhelmed, but it wasn't because Jinger was in danger. It was during their daughter's emergency. Any parent can relate to that moment of fear when your child is gasping for air. This is where things get tricky. Some YouTubers and gossip sites took Jeremy's emotional reaction and twisted the story to make it seem like Jinger was the one in critical condition, but there is zero credible evidence supporting that claim. Let's hold online creators to a higher standard. If there's no source, no statement, and no confirmation, don't believe it. If you found this helpful and want real updates on the Duggar family and other reality TV news without the drama and clickbait, make sure to like this video, subscribe, and hit that notification bell. And comment below, what do you think about how misinformation spreads online? Jinger Duggar Vuolo, the once wide-eyed teenager who grew up under the watchful eye of millions on TLC's 19 Kids and Counting, has spent the last few years building a life of her own far from the compound-style family home in Tunnytown, Arkansas. But even as she's carved out a new identity, questioned the religious teachings of her past, and penned a memoir that delves into the sometimes painful lessons of her upbringing, Jinger continues to return to one simple, unshakable truth. There is no substitute for a mother's presence. In a recent interview, Jinger got candid about how comforting it was to have her mom, Michelle Duggar, by her side during a particularly significant moment in her life. Her reflection, tender and emotionally grounded, offered fans a raw glimpse into the complex and perhaps evolving mother-daughter relationship that has silently shaped much of her public journey. When Jinger spoke about that comforting presence, she wasn't describing a vague sentiment or offering a generalized praise that could be read as PR-pleasing fluff. She was speaking from a place of experience, of vulnerability, and of walking a difficult road toward independence, healing, and rediscovery. In a world where the Duggars have often been portrayed as a united front, appearing in color-coordinated outfits and speaking in rehearsed sound bites, Jinger's willingness to open up about emotional nuance signals a major shift. The statement wasn't just about her mother being physically present, it was about emotional security, maternal warmth, and the longing for connection amidst a life that's changed dramatically in recent years. Jinger's journey from a compliant Duggar daughter to a modern California-based author and mother has been both celebrated and scrutinized. After marrying Jeremy Vuolo and moving away from the Duggar compound, she began unpacking the belief system that she was raised in, one largely shaped by the Institute in Basic Life Principles, IBLP, the controversial religious organization led by Bill Gulford. In her book, Becoming Free Indeed, Jinger didn't mince words about the fear-based theology and the emotional burden it placed on her for years. She described late-night panic attacks, feelings of unworthiness, and a constant need to earn God's love. It was a revealing and courageous recounting of her spiritual deconstruction, something many of her siblings have yet to publicly address. Yet, even amidst all that unraveling, Ginger's reverence for her mother remains evident. Her recent statement that having Michelle Duggar with her during a challenging time brought her comfort is proof that some bonds, especially those forged in the quiet, mundane routines of daily life, can outlast even seismic philosophical rifts. The comment has added a layer of dimension to how fans view Michelle Duggar, who for years has been seen as the soft-spoken matriarch championing modesty, order, and religious discipline in her 19 children. But perhaps now, through Ginger's lens, she is also simply a mother, a comforting presence in the storm. The setting in which Jinger made the comment remains relatively vague, though clues from interviews and behind-the-scenes content suggest it was likely during a time of great emotional weight, perhaps childbirth, book release, or even a personal health scare. Fans have speculated that Michelle visited Jinger in Los Angeles during the birth of one of her daughters, Felicity or Evangeline, as Jeremy and Jinger have often kept their home guarded while still sharing key life milestones. Others think it may have been during a filming project or a media event tied to Ginger's memoir, where public pressure and old anxieties bubbled up, making Michelle's presence a quiet form of support. Regardless of the specific moment, the emotional takeaway is the same. Jinger felt anchored by her mother's presence. This revelation speaks volumes when placed in the context of their family dynamic. In the Duggar household, Michelle was the emotional glue, the calm in the chaos, the voice that soothed when things felt overwhelming. While her husband Jim Bob often took the lead on public speaking and rule enforcement, Michelle was the listener, the prayer warrior, the gentle instructor. Her mothering was structured, yes, but it was also deeply personal in a way that seems to have imprinted itself on Ginger's memory. What makes Ginger's recent statement even more compelling is how it contrasts with the public perception of the Duggar family following years of controversy. From the Josh Duggar scandals to the broader criticism of the IBLP's teachings, the family has endured intense public backlash. Many fans have questioned how much Michelle knew about the systemic issues in their home and church community. Till Ginger's words show that love can exist amidst complexity, and that a child's relationship with their parent can hold space for both gratitude and disappointment. In many ways, this is the tightrope Jinger has been walking publicly for years, honoring her upbringing while refusing to let it define her. That balance is especially visible in how Jinger is raising her own children. With Jeremy, she has chosen a path that values education, emotional intelligence, and a more moderate Christian worldview. She has not chosen to cut off her family entirely, as some might have expected. Instead, she's chosen boundaries. And within those boundaries, she still values the emotional support that her mother brings. It's a form of motherhood that transcends ideology, reaching into the very heart of human connection. Critics may argue that Ginger's comments could be part of a calculated PR strategy to soften the image of her family, especially as the Duggars continue to face ongoing legal, moral, and cultural scrutiny. But those who follow Jinger closely can often sense the authenticity in her voice. Her tone, her language, and her emotional transparency consistently point to a young woman who is still navigating the fallout of her early life. She's not trying to rewrite the past. She's trying to understand it. And part of that understanding involves recognizing that her mother, despite everything, continues to offer her something deeply essential: comfort. This comfort may not come in the form of ideological alignment or even complete mutual understanding. Jinger has, after all, publicly criticized the very belief system her parents raised her in. But comfort can exist even when agreement doesn't. In that way, Ginger's words serve as a powerful reminder that relationships are not binary. Love and pain can coexist. So can loyalty and independence. And in Ginger's world, so can distance and presence. It's also worth considering how Michelle feels in all this. The quiet matriarch of one of reality TV's most polarizing families has rarely spoken out on matters of conflict or controversy. She's often smiled, nodded, and let her children speak their own truths. But it would be naive to think she hasn't felt the shifts in her family. The distance, the questions, the changed paths. For a mother of 19 whose identity was once rooted in being surrounded by her children, the silence of grown kids charting new courses must at times feel like a loss. So to hear her daughter say that her presence is comforting, that's not just validation, it's a lifeline. Ginger's evolution has become symbolic of a broader shift within the Duggar family. While some siblings remain closely aligned with their parents' traditional views, others have begun to pull back, each on their own timeline. Jill Duggar Dillard, for instance, has spoken candidly about family rifts and the emotional labor of healing. Joanna has voiced subtle differences in parenting. Jessa, ever private, walks a quieter line. Yet Ginger remains uniquely positioned, having embraced transparency while still upholding a sense of grace toward her roots. Her affection for her mother, despite the complicated past, is a poignant reflection of that maturity. The power of Ginger's confession lies in its universality. Whether you come from a large family, a fractured one, or a traditional household, most people understand what it means to feel comforted by a parent in moments of uncertainty. That comfort doesn't always require words or actions. Sometimes it's just about being there, standing close, offering silent strength, and allowing love to flow quietly beneath the surface. For Ginger, Michelle's presence in that moment was all she needed. And for many fans, that moment, simple as it was, revealed more about the heart of the Duggar family than any reality TV episode ever could. As Ginger continues her journey, sharing glimpses of her life as a wife, mother, sister, and writer, one thing remains clear. She's not trying to tear her family down. She's trying to build something new, something honest, and something her daughters can grow up trusting. And if along the way she finds comfort in the arms of her mother, well, that only makes her story more real, more resonant, and more hopeful. In a world where public figures are often expected to take hard sides, to villainize or idolize, to cancel or cling, Ginger Duggar chooses something more nuanced. She chooses to honor love even when it lives inside complexity. And in doing so, she offers not just comfort to herself, but clarity to anyone else who has ever looked at their parents with both longing and questions. That kind of truth, the kind that allows room for contradiction, is rare. And in the life of Ginger Duggar Vuolo, it's the truth she continues to walk with, hand in hand with her past, and perhaps with her mother by her side. In the ever-expanding world of the Duggar family, where children have been raised in clusters, where birthdays often overlap, and where siblings sometimes feel more like best friends or even parental figures, the idea of trying to keep track of all the names, ages, and faces becomes a daunting challenge. Ginger Duggar Vuolo, the sixth child of Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar, has found herself at the center of this lighthearted but surprisingly revealing confession. In a recent interview that stirred up both laughter and reflection, Ginger admitted something many fans may have long suspected but rarely heard so candidly. She can't always remember all the names of her 39 nieces and nephews. With a warm chuckle and a touch of self-deprecation, she confessed, "I have most of them down." That simple statement has set off waves of commentary across fan forums, parenting blogs, and entertainment sites alike. For anyone unfamiliar with the Duggar clan, a quick crash course in their unique family structure is necessary to fully grasp the magnitude of Ginger's admission. Jim Bob and Michelle Duggar rose to fame through TLC's 19 Kids and Counting, a show that chronicled the day-to-day life of their unusually large family. As the children grew older, many of them followed their parents' path of marrying young and starting families of their own. Fast forward to 2025, and the number of grandchildren continues to climb rapidly, crossing over the 3 dozen mark and standing at a staggering 39. In the early years, it may have been easier for Ginger to keep up with the arrivals. A baby born here, a toddler turning 2 there. The novelty was fresh. There were fewer names to remember, and relationships felt intimate. She grew up changing diapers, helping with breakfast routines, and reading bedtime stories to her younger siblings. The idea of being surrounded by kids wasn't new to her. It was her norm. But once the Duggar children began having children of their own, sometimes several within the same year, the floodgates opened. Cousins began arriving in what felt like batches, and the pace only accelerated. Ginger, now living in Los Angeles with her husband Jeremy Vuolo and their 2 daughters, Felicity and Evangeline, has been more open in recent years about the mental, emotional, and even spiritual journey she has undergone since moving away from Arkansas and stepping back from the intense spotlight of her family's reality TV fame. In doing so, she has given herself the freedom to speak more candidly, something she demonstrates in interviews where she discusses everything from faith deconstruction to sibling relationships to, apparently, the sheer impossibility of keeping track of all the grandchildren.